You found it, the Wichita Wow podcast with your host, Ed Fox. We'll be talking to Wichitans about the things they love about their city and what they themselves are doing in their community. Be sure to like, follow, and subscribe. Thanks for listening. G'day, viewers and listeners. It's Ed Fox back with another great episode of Wichita Wow. You know, Wichita, Kansas has so much going for it that you won't even believe. That's why you need to follow, like, subscribe, and watch this podcast. If you know somebody around Wichita that we need to talk about, have them reach out to me. We'd love to have them on the show. Today, my special guest is John Cooley, and John is the Business Development Officer with Well Kept Solutions, a facility management company. John and his business partner have been doing this for over 22 years in one form or another. They've added a bunch of new services, and he keeps businesses and facilities around Wichita clean, tidy, and running. And so we wanted to have him on the show to talk about that. John, welcome to the show.
Hey, Ed, thanks for having me.
Yeah, you bet, mate. So are you from Wichita originally?
Well, I was born in Great Bend.
Okay.
So spent the first 2 years of my life in Great Bend, and then spent 6 months in Salina, and then moved here. And grew up in Hayesville, actually.
Oh, okay. So yeah, that's Wichita Metro, right? You know, I've got 15 acres in Hayesville, and we lived in Hayesville since 2002. Before that, we were living in Wichita proper, in South Wichita. So tell me, how did you and Cassie get involved in the whole facilities management and, you know, back in the day, residential and floor cleaning and all that sort of stuff? How did that come about?
So if we get on the Wayback Machine.
Yeah, let's do that.
Casey started working for a lady in Wellington cleaning the post offices. And the lady passed away, had a pretty bad accident, passed away, and she basically, Casey took over the contracts and did that. And then over the years, the post office changed and they went to internals. So the company that had the contract for that picked up Casey, and she went into Verizon. She had all the Verizons in town, and it's over the years it's kind of developed. We did houses for a while. She would do houses to make ends meet or stay busy, and then we finally niched down. Within the last 7 years, we've niched down to just strictly commercial.
Okay, it's funny you're a niche. You're not a niche. You're not a niche. A niche. What do they say? Niche and niche. So you're a niche guy.
Yeah.
It's funny. So I started this morning. I've done 3 Wichita Wow podcasts, and it's been 50-50. So we got a niche, the first one. We got a niche, the second one. And now you're the third one is a niche, and I'm a niche. So it's like it's still stayed even. It's just funny the way we use certain words. So I think that's cool. So in all of that, you've niched down in the last 7 years. Do you have a favorite part of the business that you like?
Well, it's really servicing the customers. I mean, that's the best part is, I specialize in the floors. So that's the ones where I get the pretty pictures. You go from something that, disgusting floor that's been not taken care of over the years, and then I can spend some time and make them shine and look really nice. So that's my favorite part because I can take the pictures, and nobody wants to see a before and after picture of a toilet.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And, I like to say that poop jokes aren't my favorite, but they're a solid number 2. That's the only poop. Oh, no, I like 2 reasons not to drink water out of the toilet. Number 1 and number 2. That's my 2 poop jokes. So and I've seen some of those pictures you've done, and we've talked about this before when we've gotten together, and that stuff looks amazing when you get done with it. That must have took you a while to learn, right? Because not everybody can do that, surely.
Well, we started out to learn basically and get better. We started out servicing Family Dollars across northeastern Oklahoma and southeastern Kansas. I mean, that was basically our training grounds, for lack of better words. A lot of mistakes were made, and it's just developed over the years.
Right. And so now you guys have branched out into this new company, Well Kept Solutions, total facility management. Tell me what you guys used to do and what you've added with, and the change of the name, what you've been able to add with that.
So what we used to do was just strictly commercial janitorial and floor care. And then what we've changed into, or what we've developed, is we're still, as a structure, we are commercial janitorial and floor care. That's where we thrive, and that's where we do the best. But in order to serve our customers better and kind of help save the business owner time, is that we've developed relationships with companies across town that provide services like painters and electricians and plumbers and stuff like that. So I have a core group of people that if we have an issue that needs to be taken care of immediately, I can call those people and, hey, come out and fix this toilet. And they'll come out. Now, if they have a large project that they need to handle, something that's, like a larger painting job, we have a
Right.
guy that we can deal with and have him come out if that's how they want to do it, or we can bring out three people and I'll have three companies come out and take a look at the facility and give three different bids, and then we'll provide that to the customer.
So you've actually become a connector, that connection point and that personal assistant to these companies to be able to find other people that can do those jobs that they can trust, because they trust you, because you're in charge of their facility and taking care of the facility's maintenance already.
Right.
So I'm sure you've had some interesting stories. I've seen some of the stuff you've posted on the years over on Facebook over the years. Give me a couple of stories of, either freaked you out. I'm sure you've probably pulled a couple of pranks on Cassie, or she's pulled a couple on you too over the years. Let's make this interesting for the listeners, because you guys work mostly at night, right?
We do.
Okay.
So Casey's easily startled. It doesn't take much to startle her. So just me walking around the corner of my bald head, she's freaking out. But
Ah,
there's been one of our customers that we've had for a long time. They do uh, retail marketing, or they do setups inside the buildings, and they have the cardboard cutouts.
right.
So occasionally I'll grab the cardboard cutout and put it on the other side of a doorway. So when she walks through the door, there's Kevin Hart standing on the other side.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah, I have a video of that one. Another funny one was actually one of our customers down in Wellington. They like to play jokes on each other. Well, so I walk in the door, I unlock a facility late at night, and then there's just this loud, horrible. I didn't know how to explain it. It was just this horrible noise, and I try to open the door more, and it just keeps going. So then I shut the door and realized that they had taped one of those air horns to the top of by the door. So when I opened the door, it blasted the air horn, and I didn't know what it was.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. That's pretty funny. But I bet you guys have had your challenges and struggles too, equipment breakdown, vehicle breakdowns. Like, how do you deal with that sort of stuff when you're on a deadline? What tends to happen?
Well, so where it becomes the biggest problem, I guess, is on the floor jobs, is where our equipment is important to us. If something happens, I mean, obviously maintenance is key, but the only way that we've really been able to deal with it was, this just recently happened. We were doing a big job, and our vacuum quit working on us. And we're using it to pick up the slurry, and you can't let that stuff dry. So I had to keep the stuff dry for an hour until somebody brought me another one from Wichita. We were actually out towards Hutchinson working, and normally if we're in town, we can run back to the house and grab something, or we've got a new trailer now that's a little bigger and holds more. So that's helped too, because we
So
have more stuff.
you had to keep the slurry wet until they bought you the second. Yeah.
So they brought me another one, because if it dries, this one is actually, I've got pictures that the last provider that they had out let the stuff dry, and it turned out really bad. So here I'm spending extra time trying to fix their problems. They had let it dry, and then in the end they ended up waxing over the stuff, and you could see where the old stuff was still there in piles.
Wow.
And it was pretty bad.
Okay. And so who tend to be your ideal client, or what sort of size, or if people listening to this were looking for somebody like what you do, who's your ideal client?
So buildings above 2,000 square feet, sometimes I think we prefer getting into the 5,000, because it more economical for the customer, because at some point, we have a minimum that we're
Right.
going to charge. So the 2,000 square foot, it just depends on how often you're having us come in. But if you start getting into 5,000 square feet, there's enough time to really make it worthwhile for us. I mean, we'll do anybody. We'll help anybody out. several recurring jobs that are once a month. We just go in and once a month do a deep clean.
Right.
And we've got one that's 8 weeks. We try to stay away from the far out stuff like that, but if we can help somebody out, that'd be great. 3 day and 5 day services is where we really excel. Those are our favorite ones.
Right. I thought you were going to say shine because that would like be a good pun into the floor, So 3 day and 5 days out is where you really shine. The thing that I've always been impressed with you and Cassie with is every single client you take care of. You it's not about scaling up, it's about relationships and partnerships and collaboration and making sure that client is satisfied with what you do. And I think that's an undersold service these days, or it's under talked about. People that have that sort of honor in doing a job well and making sure the client's happy. So you built that sort of like that know, and trust that makes you easy to refer, right?
Right. One thing to think about was when you think of janitorial services, it's just the janitor, it's just the guy that cleans. But if you take it a step further and you realize that you're hiring somebody to come in at the middle of the night, clean your building, and have keys to everywhere in your building. So you have to have somebody that you can trust.
Right.
You can't. It's hard to just have anybody. There's a lot of facilities. Their own employees don't even have keys to the HR office.
Right.
So you have to have somebody that you can trust, and that's what we've developed as a relationship with all of our customers. That they can, and if they can be open with us, and if they ever have any issues or have any questions, comments, or concerns, to reach out.
Right. And are you guys, what are you finding is your major challenge in running the business right now? What is something that you're like, oh man, if I could solve this challenge, is it hiring?
Well, yeah, that's part of it. I think hiring, that's again finding somebody that we can trust to go into somebody's facility and, hey, here's their keys. I want you to give them the same respect that I give them, and same quality of service and things like that.
Yeah, that to me is I hear over and over again is one of the biggest frustrations. And you guys, what area do you cover now?
So we have part of our business is in Wellington right now. We're working on getting that staffed. And we focus on Wichita. That's our primary is Wichita. We have stuff in Wellington and El Dorado, and then we have about 33 buildings that we clean once a month that range from El Dorado down to Ark City, up to Newton, and out to Buckland, Kansas, or Greensburg.
Right. Okay. But predominantly it's Wichita Metro, Goddard to end
Right.
of I don't know what's up
Hayesville,
north. Do you
Ark
go?
City, or about.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And then down to Hayesville. Do you go down to Mulvane? I guess you would.
There's not a lot down there.
Right. Yeah. So I think for what you do, so your 5,000 square feet facilities, 2,000 and above, but like you said, you'd help anybody out. What else do people need to know about Well Kept Solutions?
I think that we would be your trusted provider. I mean, that's where we strive is we see the good and the bad in the industry and how things can go both ways. We've experienced ourselves, we've been part of it, or we've been a solution, or something like that. But just understanding that it doesn't have to be a headache.
Right.
And a lot of people like yourself, you have a business, you take a lot of time, and you spend a lot of time and money getting good at what you do. So let me spend a lot of time and money getting good at, or offering my services to what I'm good at.
Right. Yeah. You don't want me cleaning floors. I mean, you don't want me on those scrubbers and those polishers. I wouldn't know the first thing about it, right? Or know what solutions to use to get the goal. So when you're not working, John, and I know you're a hard worker, what do you do when you're not working? So this is where we talk about the Wichita wow factor. What are the things that maybe second nature to you that you like to do, but what are the wow things around Wichita that you're seeing right now? So we're looking for 3.
Okay, so the first one, the most recent one that I've reinvigorated, I guess, would be the arcade.
Okay.
They moved locations. They were downtown. Now they've moved to another place.
What is the? I know what the arcade is. You know what the arcade. But if somebody's coming into Wichita and they're not familiar with it, what is the arcade?
So I mean, it's what I'm an '80s kid, so I grew up with, Copper Cue was an art. They had the pool tables and pinball and arcade games, and that's what they've embraced. Is they have a section. My favorite section is the pinball games. And then they have the arcade where you pay $12 and you can stay in there basically as long as you want and play games unlimited. Now you pay tokens for the pinball,
Right.
but as far as the arcade, it's covered with the $12, and they've added they've added food and drinks as well now, and they have an
Is it
outside patio area that you can play outside games.
adults or is it more adult geared?
Uh, it's all the above. I mean, they've added adult beverages and stuff like that, but
Okay.
there's been kids I wouldn't have a problem taking my kids in there. But
Right.
I grew up going to Copper Cue with
Right.
my mom late at night, so
So
it's
yeah,
not
so for me, Copper Q was where I did my bachelor party.
go.
1990, early 1990 was Copper Q. And my dad was over from Australia and he kicked my butt at pool so bad. I'm like, I'm going to play Gallagher. And that's what I did. And then I found a pinball I really liked, and then he kicked my butt at pinball too. So my dad was really good at that stuff. So okay, so the arcade, that's one. I think that's a great pick.
Then the other one is online auctions, specifically EquipBid.
Now that's a
Um,
Kansas company, I know, and I remember back in the day you used to do a bit of Purple Wave too, which I think is national.
yeah,
But
that's got me in a lot of trouble.
yeah, but EquipBid, you used to send me like Facebook messages like, check this out. And I'm like, oh, don't do that. I'll bid on it. There was just a
Yeah,
big trade bank auction down in Gadsden, Alabama, and they had like 300 different items on it, and I'm like, oh, there was a house on it. And so Alice and I took a drive from Nashville down to Gadsden to look at this house, and it was going for like 25,000 trade dollars. And I'm like, ooh. And we go down there and look at the house. The house is condemned. It used to be an old meth lab or something, I think, because they had burnt the floors. And anyway, I'm like, yeah, I'm not bidding on that. But there was some cool guns and some cool other stuff that I did put a bid on. But you don't want to get me on an auction site. So when you get on equipbid.com, that's equip-bid.com, right?
right.
Yeah, and that's a Kansas site. What are you looking for on there?
So I have my saved searches that just kind of like motorcycles. There for a while I was buying lawnmowers. I do watch for floor machines and stuff like that.
Right,
That's my primary reason for the auctions. That's where
right.
Purple Wave has gotten me in trouble, was a bunch of equipment. But there's nothing is safe with me. I mean, I bought a 150-gallon aquarium for $1. Um, and we had to move it out of the basement of a place. I mean, I think that's why I paid $1 for it, because it was in
Right,
the basement. I didn't really understand how heavy at the time, how heavy 150-gallon aquarium was.
right.
So now we've got a dollar aquarium that will have almost $1,000
Well,
wrapped up in it with
fish.
fish now.
Yeah. So two fish in a tank, one turns the other, says, you man the guns, I'll drive.
Right.
That's the one I
Yep.
get with my Indian friends, dot not feather. They don't get the word usage between tank and tank, right? So
Right.
I
Yeah.
love playing that game on them. So equip bid, not that you want more people to bid against you, but that's a cool Kansas thing that has a lot of auctions, and I guess they do a lot of different business and all sorts of different stuff, right? Closeouts and all that stuff.
It's everything. I mean, and equipment is just the facilitator. Basically, they provide the website, whereas the individual auction companies are the ones that go out, and then they, like you could start an auction company
Oh,
and put
okay.
your stuff on EquipBid, and you become an affiliate, I guess is the word for it.
And they
But
take a premium.
they have everything from restaurants and estate sales, basically.
Right. Gotcha. Okay, so that's two. So we've got equip bid, we've got the arcade. What's your third hidden gem or Wichita Wow?
So this one doubles as Wichita Wow. I guess is my favorite trade bank place to eat is Taco Prano out west.
Is that what one is that on Central or is that on 21st? Which one is
It's
that?
on 20. They used to have two. They're
Okay.
down to the one on 21st now.
Okay. So yeah,
So I live down by Derby, so it's
It's a
sometimes a
hike.
little drive to go have it, but it's worth having. Or we've actually picked up a building that's right down the street from it now, so that's our Sunday night when we're out that way. We're gonna start grabbing food there.
Right. Yeah, I do like Taco Pronto. So for people on the east side that have probably never tried Taco Pronto, they're probably taco shop fans, but I'm a Taco Pronto fan. So thanks for having that. I've forgotten about them, man. They're awesome. Um, and for those of you not aware of Trade Bank, now's a good time for a Trade Bank ad. Trade Bank is a business to business barter exchange that I've owned since 2013, I think it is, and we went to number 2 in the nation. And it helps businesses trade what they have to get what they want. So if you're a business owner and you'd like to stop paying cash for a lot of your expenses, check out tradebank.com or wichita.tradebank.com, either way, and see if bartering might be a better way for you to get new business. Okay, so that's my ad. I love bartering. I love doing that sort of stuff. So, John, what's next for you guys? Where do you see World Cup Solutions going? Is this something you're looking to continue to grow, or is it in a maintenance phase? Where are you at?
That's right now we're in a development phase. We're taking basically what we had as Cassie's cleaning services, and we're trying to develop it into where we're not required to be in the building as much, and we can focus on the
Customer
business.
management and stuff, and
Right.
focus on customers getting great service. Yeah.
Mhm. Be on the business side of it, and not so much as the cleaning side. I mean, there's always going to be some aspect that we're going to have part of it, but it's just I'm getting older, and cleaning's hard work, and uh, I want to develop it and make it into something big and beautiful.
Right, right. And so, are you a reader or are you a podcast listener? With all that cleaning, are you taking time and listening to anything in particular, like business related right now, or reading anything? Because it sounds like you've almost read like E-Myth Revisited or something that talks about how to work on the business instead of working in the business.
I listen to all kinds. That's what I do. I mean, if I don't have earbuds at night, I'm having a bad night because
Right.
I mean I'll listen to it over the speaker, but then I won't hear it while I'm vacuuming. But it's I have a kind of like Sundays I have a routine where I start with this one that I listen to. That's my first one, and then as the night goes along, it plays different things. So I do the big one I have right now is Jim Ron.
Okay.
There's a podcast for him that it I got on him one night and it's been playing. I listened to the Barter Bing or your trade bank. I'm Barter Bing, Barter Boom.
Yeah, bada bing, bada boom. It's just that easy. Yeah, that's a good
Yep,
podcast.
that one. And then I listened to Jason Lavender.
Okay. Yeah, he's a good guy. Yeah.
He's got a podcast now, and uh, there's a bunch. I just go down a rabbit hole.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So there's an Earl Nightingale audio that I got off of YouTube, and it's called The Strangest Secret. And I listen to that every few months. And then I downloaded a PDF. I think maybe I got it from you or gave it to you one time, Rich Dad Poor Dad. Now, it's not an
Yeah.
audio, but it is a great PDF to go back and go through for business owners or anybody looking to develop real estate. That has been one of my top 5 books for a long time to read. So, well, hey, John, it's been great having you on the show. Great catching up. Would you come back in about 6 months or a year and update us on what you've been doing?
Sure.
Awesome, man. So, my last thought. If you had to pitch Wichita, somebody listening to this, they're thinking about moving their whole family to somewhere in the Midwest. And what could you say about why do you like Wichita?
You know, so we travel a lot. We go twice a year. We go and you go to those places and you think, man, I'd like to live here and stuff like that. And in some aspect, it would be nice to live there. But the nice thing about Wichita is it's consistent. I mean, there's it's really developing. There's a lot of things for everybody, and if there isn't something, there's always a way to figure out how to bring it here. I mean, there's always something. Um, and even if you go, what I've always found was funny is growing up, we always went to the west side.
Right.
Living in Fayetteville, it seemed like we always went to the west side of town. Whereas you have somebody from Derby, they always went to the east side. So you got East versus West battle. It's just that's kind of off topic there, but it's Wichita's consistent. There's things for everybody here, and if you go somewhere else, you're going to run out of things to do there too.
Right. Well, I think there's you've got Exploration Place, you've got a great zoo, you've got Tanganyika Wildlife Park, you've got Hutchinson just up the road with the Cosmosphere and the salt mines. You've got, there's just so many things. The Wildlife Center up on 29th and Oliver, is it up there? The wild grasses and all of that sort of stuff. And then you've got Derby's got a bunch of parks. The Parks and Rec department in Wichita and Derby are really cool. And you can afford to live in Wichita. That's the thing for me. There's a lot of great jobs. You can still buy a house, a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house for under 150 grand in some places in Wichita. We're down here in Nashville right now building a business. I've still got property. I still got business. I still got rental houses in Wichita. And I look down here and it's like $400,000 for a chicken coop with a solar panel. I don't know how anybody can afford to live here. It's ridiculous.
We just went to Oklahoma City last weekend, and we stayed in a little Airbnb with a little Tudor 2-bedroom house, and it was $400,000 for a 2-bedroom. Renting for $2,000 a month. I think I might be wrong. I might be high on it, but maybe it was $200,000 for a little 2-bedroom. It was just it was ridiculous.
Yeah, I just bought a block of land. I bought a block of land a year ago in Oklahoma City, in Spencer, Oklahoma, which is east of Oklahoma City, and it's an area that's starting to get developed. And it was on trade, and I'm like, the taxes are $127. I put it out to everybody in the network, and even guys with a lot of trade dollars, I couldn't get them to buy it, and I didn't understand why. And I'm like, it's an 80 by 200 lot in a developing area for 14 grand trade. I bought it a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago. I've already been offered 28 cash for it. It's just that there's a lot of opportunity, and I think sometimes we don't look at the opportunities that we get coming out of Wichita to do different things. And we're like so close. If we want to go up to Kansas City or down to Oklahoma City or out to Denver. Out to Denver's the largest run at 8 hours. We can go up to Omaha. What's Omaha? 4 or something?
Yeah, it's not on my radar.
Yeah, no, Wichita.
Branson's 5 hours.
Oh yeah,
Branson's 5 hours to the east. We spent a lot of time there.
Yeah, Alice and I have talked about buying a place down in Branson, but they've gone through the roof too. Plus, the traffic is ridiculous. So, mate, hey, thanks for being on the show. I appreciate your insight, and we look forward to catching up with you later.
All right, thanks for having me.
Yep, you betcha. You found it, the Wichita Wow podcast with your host, Ed Fox. We'll be talking to Wichitans about the things they love about their city and what they themselves are doing in their community. Be sure to like, follow, and subscribe. Thanks for listening.